Hello gentlemen, I hope you guys are resting at home or doing your homework, revising your subjects, discussing your group projects. Please try not to go out unnecessarily during this dangerous time. It's really important that you stay at home most of the time unless it's really necessary to go out. Okay, so to help you with your revision, here I am with a video on how to complete the square. Okay, before we get into that, let's recap the three algebraic identities that you have already learned. Firstly, you learned this one, a plus b whole thing square is equals to a square plus 2ab plus b square. Secondly, you learned a minus b whole thing square is equals to a square minus 2ab plus b square. And thirdly, you learned a plus b times a minus b is equals to a square minus b square. Now, using these three algebraic identities, you've already done expansion, factorization, etc. Now let's look at this question. Solve x square minus 8x minus 7 equals to 0. So typically how you would do it is you would start trying to factorize, right? You would draw this cross, start doing your cross method. X times x is x square. 7, the only options are 7 and 1. But the negative can only belong to one of them. So let's say it belongs to this one. Negative x here and 7x here, but these two do not add up to negative 8x. If I put the negative sign at the 7 over here, it will still be negative 7x plus x, which still will not give me negative 8x. So basically, this cannot be factorized. Now, when it cannot be factorized, we can try to do it using the completing the square method. So how does this work? Basically, you try to make it such that you have a perfect square on the left hand side and a number on the right hand side. What do I mean? Okay, let's say I give you another example like x plus 2 whole thing square is equals to 5. And I say solve. Now for this question, you don't even need to expand and factorize straight away because the left hand side is a perfect square and the right hand side is just a number. You can just take square root on both sides and you will get this. X plus 2 is equals to plus minus root 5. So solving for x, you will immediately get x equals to negative 2 plus minus root 5. Okay, which means to say x is equals to negative 2 plus root 5 or x is equals to negative 2 minus root 5. And that's your answer. Okay, you don't even need to expand, you don't even need to factorize, you've already solved it. So our idea is to get something like this, a perfect square on the left hand side, okay, and a number on the right hand side, so that we can just take square root and solve for x immediately. Okay, coming back to this question over here. This question over here, solve x square minus 8x minus 7 equals to 0. Now you realize that this will not be a perfect square, but we can try to make it a perfect square. How? Okay, so if I were to put it as this, within a bracket and a square outside, okay, what should go into this bracket? Now I want my x square, I want my negative 8x. So the term that goes into the bracket first will be x, because x square will give me this x square, right? How about the second term, negative 8x? Now the negative 8x, in order to get it when I expand this bracket, I need to have a minus 4. Why is that so? Now when I expand this, if I use my formula number 2, a square minus 2ab plus b square, I would actually get x square minus 8x, which is my 2ab, plus 16. Correct? So I have already gotten my x square minus 8x, which is what I wanted over here. Now it is just that this 16 is an extra term that I get from this expansion, which I don't want. So I will minus away the 16 to balance with this part x square minus 8x. Now since there's also a minus 7 over here, I just bring him down and equate it to 0. This balances my original equation, am I right? I have x square minus 8x plus 16 minus 16 minus 7 equals to 0. Now, remember what I need to do? I need to make sure that my left hand side is a perfect square, my right hand side is a number before I can take a square root. So I am just going to simplify, and I will get minus 23 equals to 0, add 23 on both sides, take my square root, and plus 4 on both sides. I will get x equals to 4 plus minus root 23, which is my answer. And this entire process is known as completing the square. Okay, because we are trying to make it a perfect square. Okay, so the main thing to realize is that the number in the bracket over here, how do we get this minus 4? Okay, it's because you have a x squared minus 8x over here. The x is simple. Okay, the one in the bracket, the term in the bracket will just be an x. But the number over here is basically this negative 8 divided by 2 to get the minus 4. Why? Because when I expand, I am going to get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. But when I put it back into the bracket, I need to take the negative 8 over here and divide it by 2. It's like doing the reverse of expansion. Okay, so in the bracket I'll have x minus 4 whole thing square, which when I expand I will get x squared minus 8x plus 16. Then to balance the x squared minus 8x, I will have to minus the 16 away, and of course there's a minus 7 here which I just bring down. Okay, so after that the steps are quite easy. The main thing is to get this step. The main thing is this part, to get the perfect square and the number. Okay, so let's try a few examples now.